You picture knights in shining armor, pricking across the plain, seeking the Holy Grail, dying noble deaths. Black Plague, non-standard Elizabethan spellings. No, the Middle Ages. In reality, span 40 to 50 years of age, depending on how long you think you'll live. Will you make it to 80? Maybe 100. Oops, sorry to burst your bubble. But the average life expectancy for women and men hovers around 80.5 and 75.1 respectively. If you're more than 40, you're on the downside, over the hill, sliding towards the end. Continually reaching retirement where your body will fail you and the medical industry will fleece you for everything you've saved. Here with his icebreaker for the presentation mastery pathway, Toastmaster Barry McCann wants to share his thoughts on his post-middle age and acquaint you with his journey, which has recently taken some expected and unexpected turns. Welcome, Toastmaster Barry.
Hi, my name is Barry, and I'm a addict. I thought this summer was going really well. I was playing more. Finally, COVID was over, sort of. I got to play my drums a lot. My chops are getting back in shape. I'm exercising a lot because I get to carry my drums around and set them up, put them down, set them up, put them down, put them down. And I was drinking more water, and I was going to the bathroom a lot more. That's got to be healthy, right? And I was losing weight. And I thought, man, I don't even need to worry about drinking diet drinks. I should just drink regular drinks because diet soda is bad for you. But then my vision got blurry and I couldn't see. And my glasses, I didn't need them because my vision changed. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. But then I started putting two and two together. And I called the doctor. And I had my first visit in 3 years, my annual checkup. And she did blood work. And they called me a couple days later. And they said, hey, we need to see you again because your glucose is 421. And your A1C is 11.5. The normal top range is 6.5. They said I was a walking uncontrolled diabetic. Huh. Well, that explains everything. That very day, I awakened and put myself to action. I had to be more steadfast. Curse you, come and go for your summer drink promotion. Dollar sodas are not your friend. I started tracking everything, every calorie I ate, everything I put in my mouth. I was treating my body like a science experiment. I went back to the gym. As painful as it is, I started running again. Yeah, Hayes is really excited about that. I cut my carbs to really low levels. I cut sugars to get myself under control. And in 6 days, when I went back to the doctor, my level had fallen to 137. I avoided her putting me on diabetes medication other than a little bit of metformin to help control my glucose. And I'm planning on cutting that out pretty soon. I started educating myself. My first stop was Hay and Craig's house, and they gave me a book called How Not to Die. Thank you. I learned all sorts of things. I learned about glycemic index. Do you guys know the difference between glycemic index and glycemic load? The glycemic index would say that grapes are no-no. But actually, if you look at the glycemic load, which looks at the number of carbohydrates associated with the serving of that food, grapes are actually good. And here's the reason, because they have some fiber and they're natural. They're not processed. Processed foods, bad. Natural foods, good. nuts, fruits, vegetables, flaxseed, good. Sugar, candy, soda, high fat red meat, bad. No bueno. I started eating stuff like beans and sweet potatoes. I stopped putting butter on everything. I looked at my macros. Man, did I look at my macros. I tracked everything. Do you guys know what macros are? So it's the balance of your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats. What are you eating in those three categories? I started seeing results pretty quickly. My average glucose for the last month was 101. And I'll show you some of the experiments that I've done are, if I saw my glucose a little high in the morning, I said, oh, I'm going to track that. I'm going to take 4 or 5 data points. That means I'm going to stick my finger 4 or 5 times in the day. And I've gotten my glucose in pretty good shape. As you can see, I usually don't go over about 130, 135, which is normal. I've gotten my glucose levels almost to a non-diabetic level. The other thing that I've done is I have tracked religiously my nutrition. Let me show you an example of what I did. When I started out, I was freaking out. And I said, I'm cutting out any kind of sugar. I don't care what it is. My carbohydrates were 30% of my diet, which is pretty low. That's almost what you would call a keto diet. So higher fat, you can see the line in the middle was a little higher, but about 40%. And gradually over time, as I educated myself, I started shifting my carbohydrates back up because I knew the difference between a simple sugar as a carbohydrate and a complex carbohydrate like a fruit or vegetable. And as you can see now, my macros are better balanced. My fat is around 40%, carbohydrates around 63%, and my protein around 38%. Do I have room to improve? Yeah, I do. But most of those fats are from nuts and olive oil, not things like butter and saturated fats like bacon. Bacon's really good, by the way. I don't cheat. I get to go back to the doctor tomorrow. I hope she gives me something like, you know, a gift card for doing such a good job. My father passed at the end of August, on August 29th. And for a long time when I was younger, I was kind of mad at him because he didn't take a lot of risks in life. And I wondered why he wasn't curious or why he didn't want to try something new and get out there and travel. And one holiday, my daughter Lydia made a video and she asked, what makes you happy? And I have this video of my father saying that what makes him happy is his children and knowing that they're okay. And I thought about, what's the legacy that I'm going to leave? And what do I need to do differently? My name is Barry, and I'm a diabetic in remission.